CBN4's Primetime News. I am your presenter, Marissa Sten. Earlier today, Surgical Life Dominica and the group Doctors in Our Circle donated a fully customized mobile medical unit to the Ministry of Health at the handing over ceremony. Minister of Health Kenneth Darrow expressed his sincere gratitude to all those involved. Darrow laments that many of our services and healthcare staff were affected by the hurricane. He stated that this provision would increase the delivery of quality healthcare throughout the entire island.
Schools, workplaces, within the community and public settings, in fact throughout the entire island. Thus, this well-equipped tool will enhance our efforts in prevention and promotional activities, as well as other public health programs for the country. And as I said, this activity is going to, has reflected, this public-private partnership. I think Mr. McNamara alluded to this. That is always refreshing and comforting when we see the business community, the corporate citizen, and the corporate sector of the community team up with the public sector towards the betterment and development of our country. And we're hoping that in the rebuilding process that we can see many much more of these types of activities. My friend from Doctors in Our Circle spoke to this challenge, and I think Mr. McNamara, this new challenge that we're facing, the issue of climate change. And I see the Chief Medical Officer here present, you know that together when I took over the reins of the Ministry of Health, we have been trying to champion and discuss the effect of climate change on health. And not only can we speak to the direct effects of climate change on health, natural disasters, the trauma and all of this, but also we see some erratic patterns in vectors and studies of those of you who have access to the internet. I'm sure Flo and Digicel would have increased the cost.
Darrow went on to say that initiatives such as these are very timely. He stressed that health services must continue before, during, and more importantly, after a disaster. Darrow explains that the devastating effects of Hurricane Maria award the Ministry of Health the opportunity to chart a new vision for the healthcare system in Dominica. The minister revealed that one of the segments looked at is the construction of the hospital.
System of healthcare here in Dominica. And I can speak to many segments that we are currently undertaking. Our flagship project, the new National Hospital, while it's at a standstill, it's not at a standstill because of lack of funds or any other reason, but that we have been invited and of course kindly accepted the invitation by our Chinese counterparts to sit back and review the scope of works of the project. Not that the project was not being built to withstand hurricanes, etc., but clearly Hurricane Maria would have opened our eyes a bit more as to how we're going to go forward in this project. So I want to thank our Chinese counterparts, of course, for this, I think, generous gesture of having us to rethink and looking at the designs again, and of course see how the hospital is going to fit into our new vision for health post Maria.
Also added that this government, along with the Ministry of Health, is looking forward to fine-tuning and implementing their new vision for health. The Rotary Club of Dominica presented library books to two primary schools, St. Mary's Primary School and the Newtown Primary School, under its Literacy Enhancement Project. This project was made possible through a generous donation of 34,000 Eastern Caribbean dollars from the Anglican Church Post-Erica Relief Fund. President of the Rotary Club of Dominica, Aylmer Irish, noted that after Tropical Storm Erica, the donation from the Anglican Church was to improve libraries and primary school. Irish noted that after the purchase of the books by Hands Across the Sea, the Rotary Club was unable to distribute the books due to Maria.
None of the books were affected by the passage of the Hurricane Maria, and so we are now able to distribute the books to the schools. Last week, we were able to make a major distribution of books to the primary school at Newtown and the St. Mary's Primary. We will continue with the assistance of Hands Across the Sea to distribute to other primary schools and affected libraries.
Hands Across the Sea has been contributing to literacy in Dominica for over 11 years and has donated books to at least 85 schools across the country. Prime Minister Roosevelt Scarrett noted that the massive cleanup undertaken after Hurricane Maria was facilitated by a team of what he refers to as Caribbean brothers and sisters, ably assisted by local workforce. The PM stated that he is amazed by the transformation of certain parts of Roseau and environs. The PM recognizes the efforts of sister Caribbean islands after Tropical Storm Erika and recently Hurricane Maria.
To show what can be accomplished when we roll back our sleeve shirts and unite as a Caribbean people in solidarity with a common purpose or common sense of purpose. Within hours of the passage of both Tropical Storm Erika and the Category 5 Hurricane Maria, nationals of sister Caribbean nations descended upon Dominica, offering selfless aid and assistance in whatever way was needed. Later, they were joined by representatives of friendly nations from around the world. But it is important for us to recall that it was and always is our Caribbean brothers and sisters that are there for us as Dominicans in good times and in bad.
The Prime Minister stated that he is aware that many were shocked to know that Dominica assisted other Caribbean islands, although still recovering from the destruction left behind by Tropical Storm Erika. The Prime Minister admits that Dominica gave financial assistance, not knowing that this country would be subject to another major disaster.
I cast your minds back to those scenes, ladies and gentlemen, to remind you that even though we may not give the official regional integration movement, CARICOM, its due in terms of recognition of the role it is playing in deepening cooperation among sister nations. The reality is that every single day there are glaring examples of regional integration on display across the Caribbean.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Scarrett admits that the amazing transformation that we have witnessed of our infrastructural landscape has been engineered and undertaken by Caribbean brothers and sisters working in unison. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Les moun ki ni TB estene e ben tout se, moun ki en bonne santé oli wan ka respire se vermin la. Moun ki pa ni bon tempérament kon sa ki ni maladie HIV, alcool, ka fime, ti mamay e gwan moun bien sensible pour ces maladies sa la. Moun ki ka tousse ni pou prendre précaution le yo en parmi moun en place publique. Couvre bouche ou le ka estene et tousse. Visitez docteur et ben place santé. Fini tout traitement yo ba ou sa joine guérison et puis maladie TB. En responsabilité ou aider du bout si men maladie TB et HIV, protéger corps et les autres. L'année sim tout partout. Attention si vous êtes homme et bien femme. Visitez place santé pour examiner corps. Ça c'est un nid pour yo ouais si l'année pièce moun au lion qui ni maladie TB et bien maladie sexuelle. En compagnie moun qui ni maladie HIV, pe ni TB aussi. Savent qui l'année guérison pour TB. Ou ça vivre en bonne santé même si ou ni maladie HIV. Parlez by docteur. Prends responsabilité ou. Aider du bout si men maladie TB et HIV. Ou agir tout le monde pour examiner corps yo.
Welcome back. And in other stories, senior amphibian technician with the Division of Forestry, Wildlife and Parks, Marshall Sultan, has admitted that since the passage of Hurricane Maria, only one quapo is being held at the amphibian station. Sultan further notes that his team continues to monitor in the wild, going out twice a week to find any other surviving mountain chicken frog.
But to add to that, it's still early because the breeding season normally starts in April, and through this storm we know that animals do migrate, so most likely the frogs have migrated from where they used to be. So come the breeding season in April, when they start croaking or calling, we can actually figure out where they have moved to, and we believe that we'll be finding more surviving frogs.
Traditionally, the mountain chickens were found across the island, especially on the east coast. Sultan indicated that lately the frogs were more or less found on the west coast rather than the east. The Share Dominique Foundation, based in Houston, Texas, donated a 40-foot container of food and supplies to Dominica. The supplies, valued at over $500,000 were distributed from February 2nd to the 5th, 2018 to residents of 7 communities across the island. Supplies were also donated to the Pioneer Preparatory School, the Grotto Home, the Social Center, and the Dominica Infirmary.
So our focus being on the children, we have donated to the social center in Dominica, which is actually very dear to my heart, as my mom worked at the social center, and I have a first-hand knowledge of the work that's done at the social center. So we made a donation to them. We have donated to one of the communities, Point Michelle community, and we are also making a sizable donation to the Carib territory, I should say the Kalinago community. And we actually would love to see that whatever we give will help the people directly. So the intention and the plan is to go out to the community and assist with the distribution.
Following Hurricane Maria in September 2017, the foundation shifted its focus to seeking donations to assist the people of Dominica in the recovery process. As a young organization, and this being the first major donation, the foundation's president, Jermaine Brumant-Bellat, was on hand to distribute the supplies to the various communities and institutions. The shipment contained non-perishable food, baby food and supplies, clothing, shoes, toiletries, water, and much more.
Food container which we shipped in December, which arrived in Dominica early January. We do have pallets of water, cereal, peanut butter, baby supplies, senior supplies, lots of food, clothing and shoes for children and adults of all age groups. So we give this with love, and we really hope to support and continue to support Dominica for the long term, because we understand that it's not a short-term fix. It's going to take all of us here and in the diaspora and others who just love Dominica and who want to assist. So we are here to help and facilitate in any way we can. And as the time progresses, we will be putting on other events to assist to help the long-term recovery.
Share Dominique Foundation, a non-profit organization, was founded 2 years ago to assist in providing school supplies to primary schools in Dominica. And also in the news, General Manager of the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation, Florine Michel, is calling on the general public to ensure that waste materials are covered when transported. Michel said that according to law, if anyone is transporting waste materials in an open vehicle and does not cover their materials which falls onto the street, is committing an offense, whether contracted or not.
Calling again on the general public to ensure that your material that is discovered, and not just when you're approaching the landfill, and we've seen all those things, because from our end, I mean, you might find it is hilarious, but I mean, we've seen that. From our end, I would ensure that our security personnel would okay, if anybody's coming to the landfill, if they're not covered, do not allow them to come in. And then you'll see somebody knowing that they're supposed to cover their stuff. When they close to the gate, they would put their tarpaulin on, and then they would come in. And I'm saying, I mean, you leave Mahu or Masak or wherever, you know, transporting your material to the landfill. I mean, you might have driven for 2 minutes, half a minute. That means that something probably blew. So don't wait when you arrive at the gate, knowing that you will not enter if it is not covered, and try to cover it in front of the facility now and figure it's covered and I'm coming inside. Let us consider the half a mile or the 2 minutes that you may have driven from the point of loading to the point of discharge. So that is what we want to be able to articulate to the people today.
Michel also noted that any individual who has an interest in pursuing a career as a waste hauler must first write a letter to the Minister of Health requesting a license for that operation.
Suing it as a business. For example, that is all you do. You're going to buy a garbage truck, you're going to go into the business of hauling waste, or you may have a tipper truck and somebody may enter into a contract with you to carry that activity. Because some of the vehicles that we see, based on the law, it speaks to the size of the vehicles, 0.5 tons. It gives you a range of the vehicles that you could use and license based on the regulations. So we see those vehicles are being used locally. But some people, when they approach your facility and then you ask them who they're holding for, well, they tell you they're holding for a particular institution, then you realize that it's a contract that they have. But that person themselves is not licensed to haul the material. And in there now we're trying to get them to understand it's not just hauling, but there are regulations that governs hauling of waste. And try to get them through the process, get them licensed. Then in there you explain to them what are the stipulations in terms of you being licensed, a licensee, and what it entails, and what you're supposed to do. Even your vehicle, you cannot just have any old vehicle and just haul stuff. There are also stipulations again in the regulation as to the type of vehicle, in terms of how often you do your service. It's a host of different areas that the Act speaks to, not just the hauling aspect of it, but even the general condition of that vehicle that the person is going to use to haul the material.
The General Manager of Solid Waste Corporation further noted that there are regulations and legislations in place that governs the collection and disposal of municipal solid waste from the environment. And in other stories, football action resumes this weekend with 8 matches after a short break for the carnival celebrations. On Saturday, Trafalgar Football Club will take on Gully Football Club at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, while at the Cassiburs playing field, it will be LA Stars versus the Kalinago Football Club. Meantime, at the Benjamin's Park in Portsmouth, Skerrit Northeast will come up against Exodus Football, while at the Dubla playing field, Buster Warner will battle Belfast Estate Maho Soccer Strikers. The action continues on Sunday with another packed schedule. Petro Caribe Point Michel will come up against the Newtown-based Promex Harlem United at the Windsor Park Stadium, while at La Plaine, Sagico Southeast will battle RC Doctors. At the Benjamin's Park, Northern Concrete and Steel Bombers will play host to Central Cooperative Credit Union, Dublin Football Club, and at the Cassiburs playing field, East Central will take on We United Football Club. All matches are scheduled to begin at 3 p.m. And we'll be back with more news after the break.
L'année signe tout partout. Attention si vous êtes homme et bien femme. Visitez place santé pour examiner corps. Ça c'est un nid pour yo ouais si l'année pièce moun au lion qui ni maladie TB et bien maladie sexuelle. En compagnie moun qui ni maladie HIV, P ni TB aussi. Savent qui l'année guérison pour TB. Ou ça vivre en bonne santé même si ou ni maladie HIV. Parlez by docteur. Prends responsabilité. Aidez du bout de sime maladie TB et HIV. Ou agir tout le monde pour examiner corps yo.
Of a 3-year-old girl who was shot dead in Anoto Bay, St. Mary, Jamaica, are still trying to come to terms with her gruesome murder. The child, Calicia Matthews, was killed on Cane Lane in St. Mary as she walked home with her stepfather on Wednesday night. The mother of the child said her daughter was killed meters away from her as she was a short distance behind the child and her stepfather. The family was reportedly returning from a function in the community when a gunman opened fire at the stepfather and little Calicia. She was taken to the Anoto Bay Hospital where she was pronounced dead. Range Developments, the developers of luxury hotel resorts in the Caribbean, said it is delighted that cable news network has named the Park Hyatt St. Kitts at the top of a list of the 14 best new hotels and resorts opening in the Caribbean. The Park Hyatt St. Kitts is set within the Christophe Harbour development and boasts sandy beaches and views to the neighboring island of Nevis. The project was partly financed by the country's citizenship by investment scheme, which allows investors who made an investment not only to take a stake in the hotel, but to apply for citizenship of the island state subject to due diligence. The country has recently reduced the government fees for such real estate related investments, making similar propositions even more attractive in the future. Heroism are emerging after a mass shooting at a Florida high school on Wednesday left 17 people dead. Staff at the school have been praised for protecting students as they were forced to hide under desks and in cupboards to avoid being shot. One teacher was killed while attempting to barricade a classroom door. 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz confessed to carrying out the attack at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland and has been charged with 17 counts of murder. Students have been sharing their stories of the attack, the deadliest U.S. school shooting since 2012, and how many more people could have lost their lives had it not been for a number of brave individuals. A South Carolina student was arrested on Thursday after posting a Snapchat threatening a repeat of Wednesday's deadly mass shooting, which took place at a Florida high school. Spartanburg School District 3 spokesperson Sherry Houghton told local media that officials received an anonymous tip about the threat, which was made via Snapchat from the parent of another student at Broome High School. The alarming photo shows an unnamed 9th grade boy wearing a partial face mask and holding what appears to be an assault rifle with the caption "Round 2 of Florida tomorrow." And that takes us to the end of the Primetime News package. I am your presenter, Marisa Stedman. Thank you for watching.